Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And today we're going to talk about how we can optimize database for sustainability. And this particular topic is focused on AWS infrastructure and AWS cloud. So let's get started. Um, Although we are going to talk about overall database for sustainability and how you can optimize it, we will also, touch base at a high level, just general principles about it. So let's get started. Now, just wanted to start with this quote, right? And the idea is the more efficiently you can run a workload, the less energy run, you will need to use to run the workload, right? And AWS's well-architected sustainability pillar was launched to ensure that customers can architect their workload, keeping sustainability in mind. Now, before getting started, let us briefly glance at the governing design principle of the sustainability pillar. So number one is understand your impact. What this really means is measuring the environmental impact of your workload throughout its entire life cycle, from conception to being in part of production and then decommissioning it. Number two is establishing sustainability goal. So for each and every workload, you should have a sustainability goals of the compute, the storage resources that is required per transaction. But as a company, as an organization, you should also have a long-term strategic goal as well. Next up is maximizing the utilization. So right-sizing the workload and implementing an efficient design to ensure high utilization and maximizing the energy efficiency of the underlying hardware is really important. For example, if you have two hosts with 30% utilization, they would most likely be less efficient than one host with 60% utilization. And of course, having that one host would also mean that you would also have a cost optimized workload as well. So sustainability many times go hand in hand with cost optimization, and at the same time you would want to identify and eliminate or minimize any idle resources, processing or storage to reduce the total energy required to power your workload. Next up is anticipate, adopt new, more efficient hardware and software. So the idea is to continuously monitor your existing infrastructure, yes, for sure, right? But at the same time, keep your eyes open and start evaluating new and more efficient hardware and software offerings in an iterative manner. Keep doing that again and again. And in order for you and your business to embrace that, you want to make sure that you design for flexibility to allow for rapid adoption of new efficient technologies. Next up is using the managed services. So managed services help reduce your impact for sure. So let's give an example. For example, the S3 lifecycle configuration policy, right, which moves the data from infrequently to cold storage. That is one of the use case, right? That is how you're automating and in the end also getting your sustainability goals fulfilled. EC2 auto scaling, so you adjust the capacity to meet the demand, are some of the examples. And the next one is to reduce the downstream impact of your cloud workload. This actually means to reduce the amount of energy or resources required to use your services. Now, customers estimate the capacity they need to absorb peak traffic, wasting resources and money on unused infrastructure. AWS fully managed database services provides continuous monitoring, which allows you to increase and decrease your database capacity as you need. Now, we have a whole variety of database which is available. Most of these are managed databases, and you can use a pay-as-you-go model based on your instance size and storage use. And you can, pick and choose based on your business workload. For example, if you're having an IoT application which needs to process a large amount of time series data, Amazon Time Series is designed and optimized for this exact use case. Now, The second tip here is to right size, reduce waste, and choose the right hardware. So step number one is you want to see matrix thresholds to identify the underutilized instances and right sizing opportunities. Parameters like DB connection, CPU utilization, idle DB instance, etc. And you can leverage Amazon CloudWatch, Trusted Advisor, and RDS Performance Insights to do exactly that, to understand what is underutilized. And then as a way to remediate that, what you could do is, first of all, you can look at your business requirement, SLAs, etc., and see if they are relaxed enough to have an acceptable trade-off to optimize your environment for sustainability. That mean, right sizing your instance, picking a smaller instance, or changing the storage type. If you have non-prod environment, if your customer have non-prod environment, which most of the time they would, right? You can see if, they can be scaled down for business outside of business hours using instant scheduler, or you can shut it down, have a different mechanism. But instant scheduler is a ready to available solution, which is available and customers can just download, just deploy it. It's a CloudFormation template and leverage it to manage that shutting down and starting in backup. Next up is considering Graviton instances. So Graviton instances are more power efficient, right? They deliver better performance as well, but at the same time, they deliver 2 to 3.5 times better CPU performance per watt than any other processor in AWS. So these are, easy wins. Next up is going serverless. So production databases can experience intermittent, spiky traffic. And many of the times, other than those spiky traffics, it is mostly unutilized. So in order to improve efficiency and eliminate excess capacity, scale your infrastructure according to its load. So AWS offers a relational and non-relational serverless database that shuts off when not in use, quickly restarts, and automatically scale database capacity based on your application need. This reduces your environmental impact because capacity management is automatically optimized by selecting the best purpose-built database, and you can benefit from its scalability and fully managed experience. So we have relational and non-relational database, and some of them are not like outright spelled out as serverless, but for example, a DynamoDB on-demand mode is equivalent to leveraging serverless. Next up is using automated database backup and removing redundant data. Now, manual backups, unlike automated backups, when you take a manual snapshot, you don't set a retention period by default. So that means it will stay in there forever and ever, right? Until you delete it. So leveraging service like AWS Backup, which is a fully managed service, which can help you to centrally manage and automate the backup across AWS services. And of course, it supports database as well, including RDS, DynamoDB, Aurora, Neptune, and DocumentDB, to name a few, right? You can leverage that and have an expiration set. In addition to that, if you're exporting snapshot from MariaDB or MySQL or Postgres databases, you can, to S3, you can export specific tables, just the ones which are relevant, right, and requires that backup. And you can leverage the colder long-term archival storage instead of keeping it within your database as well. So that's another way. Now here is the last step, right? Optimizing a long-running queries and improving a database platform. So the first step would be to identify those resources who are, eating away all the resources in the background, right? Those resource-intensive queries, because they can affect the overall performance of your application. You can leverage performance insights dashboard to identify the top SQL query, the weight, host, and download the details and investigate further. You can also leverage CloudWatch metrics like CPU utilization, storage or disk metrics, and create a CloudWatch alarm to be a little bit more proactive. Now that you know the culprit, so these are the mechanisms via which you can know it. Once you know the culprit, you can leverage our fine-tuning guidelines to optimize those queries. And customers can also leverage Amazon DevOps Guru for RDS, which uses machine learning to detect and notify database-related issues, including overutilization or misbehavior of certain SQL query. The visibility can also help drive a better resource utilization and hence being sustainable, but also help improve performance to drive a better customer experience and improve cost. So that's it from my side. Thank you for listening to me. And now just have those sustainability conversation discussion with your customers within your team, wherever you are. Go and have that conversation. Thank you.